Well, here we are again. I didn't want to make another video because I said what I needed to say, but Shelly, you had to bring up Billy. 17 years, no, finally got past nightmares, finally got past everything. And here you are. You had to bring him up. So let's talk about Billy, since that's what you want to bring up. And since he don't know how to shut his mouth. I shut him down 17 years ago, and I'm about to shut him down again. First off, let's go back to your very first video, Billy. In this video, you state that we took off to Texas. You had no clue, no nothing. That you went to the courts and you had papers served. Okay, let's talk about these papers, which I'm glad you got the dates on them so that you literally have just proven everything I need you to prove, Billy. Those papers must have been served when we were in Texas. Okay. Now, paint the whole picture, Billy, because what you're not telling is what the courts completely told you. Apparently, because Lee never got those papers, that I will admit, Lee got them. But what happened was that we went to DHS down, or family courts, whatever it was, we went down to and talked to them in Texas. The young lady that we spoke to down there that said that she would take care of the court paperwork and have everything transferred up to West Virginia, have everything taken care of for Lee. So, dear sir, here's what happened. Because ain't no court going to tell you what you're trying to convince everyone that they told you to hire a private investigator. Because if they had served them papers to Lee, if she had not received them papers, if she had been in contempt of court, they would have issued a bench warrant. Okay? There's the first thing that shoots you right out of the water, sir. Second thing, those papers were drawn up in family court. These children were in CPS custody for 6 months in family court. We have collected food stamps on all these babies through family court. And one little thing about it, you say that she's denied, you didn't know where they were. Well, every time you go in and you apply for food stamps, you have to show birth certificates. At the bottom of them birth certificates is your name, Billy. On that, automatically comes up the incident that happened in Texas where Lee went to the courts, and apparently, I don't know if this is exactly what happened, but apparently they filed an injunction because of the whole situation, because they did do a CPS investigation probably, or whatever it was, through DHS. Everything was, when you fool with DHS, there's no hiding. Your kids were in the system. They were in family court for 6 months. Your record alone was enough to make family courts say, hey, wait a minute, let's not recommend these children go back home. So this big dick contest that you're trying to have, that you got the better house, that you changed, all this. Let's talk about the trailer that Lee had to climb up on in Oxiana to help with the rubber roof. Let's talk about the trailer that Lee had to climb underneath in Oxiana to fix the pipes. Let's talk about the furnace that never worked in the trailer in Oxiana. You may have changed. I'm not denying the fact that you may have changed getting with Beverly. But here's why you changed. Because I know as a man, I'll be honest, if I was to ever lose a woman like Lee, it would yank a knot in my ass and I'd make some big changes too. But the trailer that you're claiming, oh, you have this, you have that. No, Beverly had that when you guys got together. Beverly has it now, and I guarantee it's still in Beverly's name. So you finally getting a job, great, that's wonderful. But you never had a job the whole time you were with Lee. You sat at home watching porn, talking to kids or girls or whatever would float your boat at the time, while that woman walked most days to McDonald's there in Oxiana to pay the lot rent, to pay all your bills. So paint your story the way you want, but any common sense puts the dates together that in my video, I admitted we went to Texas. I admitted that we talked to the family courts down there. Okay, so you're admitting that you filed these papers with family court over a parenting plan that Lee did not follow. Thank you. Thank you very much for admitting that. So, right there, if the courts were not pursuant to issue a bench warrant against Lee, they tell you to hire a private investigator. Lee had the kids in family court for 6 months and they did not even contact you. Okay? Your name was on all their birth certificates. Never, not until Austin here very shortly is about to have his name changed to Austin Dell Lee. I just got corrected by Austin. Ozzie Dell Lee Dammer is what he's about to have his name changed. I didn't put Austin up to it. If anything, I'm trying to protect Austin because I know what's going to happen. You want to jump in bed with Chris, you want to jump in bed with Shelly, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to keep making these videos, but you're not going to keep running your mouth like, you know, it doesn't make no sense, dude. Really, just sit down and look. Like a very close friend of mine tells me sometimes, because me and him get into heated arguments. And when me and him get into heated arguments, before he flips out, and that's why I'm not flipping out, is because, like he tells me, look at what you're saying. Because in your very video, you admitted that they tried to serve the papers to Lee. There was grass grown over. So, in that amount of time, how long did it take for grass to literally grow over a house before you finally got the papers served? Then, when you finally did get the papers served, nobody's there and they tell you to hire a private investigator. No court is going to do that. Trust me, like I said, I was in trouble constantly in Rhode Island. I know how the courts work. If Lee was in contempt of court, they would have issued a bench warrant. The first time she would have got a traffic ticket, anything, which at that time, Lee had a good tendency of having traffic tickets. That's about the only thing that woman does have. But I'm not going to make this video long because you did everything I wanted you to do in that video. I wanted you to do that. You admitted to it because of the simple one untruth. No court is going to tell you to hire a private investigator. If Lee was in contempt of court, like you say she was, Lee didn't follow the parenting plan like you say she did. Lee kidnapped your kids against the court like you say she did. Where's the bench warrant that would have been issued for Lee? Why were these children not returned to you when they were 6 months in the system in family court? Why did DHS never once bring you up? Because they seen you as a danger. Because there's domestic violence history. There used to be a domestic violence place there in Oxiana, Wyoming County, wherever it is. When Lee showed up to court, she had been hiding at my house for almost 2 weeks. They showed up and thought that you had killed her and left her in the ditch somewhere. The pictures you're showing of Austin, yeah, he's smiling. That's great. That's wonderful. He was either infant or he was getting something. Austin brought this up, not me. So, and he wants an answer to that too. Where's pictures of Star? Why haven't you touched the subject of who sat in the hospital with Star for 2 weeks? With salmonella poisoning, as Austin's telling me. Botulism or any of that. So, nobody made Austin do anything. Because for 17 years, the way we dealt with you is we didn't talk about you. And the reason we didn't talk about you is because for 17 years, Lee still has nightmares about the day you picked her up, slammed her against the wall, and was going to cut her heart out with a butcher knife. The incident that you were removed from. And now you just made another video admitting that Lee had to get protective custody. I know enough to know about how domestic violence works. I've been dealing with the blowout of it for 17 years. The nightmares, the screaming, the yelling, all of it. The hiding in the corners, all of it. All the things I dealt with in the beginning that I haven't had to deal with for 17 years. Now, Lee's apologizing just for dropping something on the bed. She's having nightmares again, can't sleep. Austin's having nightmares again. So just sit down, dude. Great, wonderful. Beverly has a beautiful home. I'm very proud for you. We have a we have a home we're happy with. These kids are happy. My kids go to school clean every day. Every day they go to school clean every day. Austin goes to work every day. So you want to keep nitpicking little things that, oh, you got a gas stove. Whoopie doo, you got a gas stove. You also got the bills that go with it. So you might have finally got a job. You might have finally straightened up. But it doesn't change the fact of who you were when Lee left you. It took her twice to get away from you. The third time, the second time, she had me. The first time, she didn't have nobody. She was just trying to get out of a bad situation, didn't have nowhere to go. The second time, she had a son bitch on the other side of that mountain that didn't care, that knew the whole story, had been sitting back in the shadows watching you share your little pictures. And I'm not going to say what part of your body that you thought was so cool to share your pictures with, and have a big lighter and tell all the girls in the chat room how big it was. Come on, dude. You might have changed. But matter of fact, I still got conversations where the young lady down in Arkansas hacked your account and was telling all the wonderful things on you. So just keep running your mouth. Jump in bed with Chris and Shelly. I ain't got time for any of it. But my wife's name is not going to be drugged through the mud no more. The truth of what you did that night lives on in your son, as you call him. But he's not your son. He's about to have his name changed. Al, as I was just told, he would rather have his blood type changed too. You're pissed off because your bloodline died. Accept it. You fucked up. You might have changed your life, but at that point in time in your life, you screwed everything up. And you don't want to, another thing you don't want to talk about, which at this point everybody's sus, is the fact that both Lee and your first girl you were with, both of your first two women that you got pregnant, were both extremely underage. You don't want to explain that, do you? You didn't show a beautiful trailer, that's fine. Lee begged you for that for years. Matter of fact, when Lee got the check for the floods in Oxiana, you wanted to take the money and blow it on this, blow it on that. She found a trailer and went and bought it against your wishes. And you did nothing but throw a fit that she wasted the money. So, and honestly, no, you haven't changed. You still got a complex. You still think just because you got cool stuff, you're better than everybody else. But one thing about it, you might have cool stuff, but for 17 years, I've raised your kids. For 17 years, I put a roof over your kids' head. For 17 years, I made your kids my kids. And after 17 years, they are my kids. I didn't hide them, never did. Collected food stamps. They were in family court. And you done stated, you can't go back now and stated that that paperwork that you're showing everybody was filed in family court. So, and you want to get on there and make threats to me. I'm not here to make threats. I'm not here to have childish bullying comments or anything like that. I'm here to set facts straight. So you want to make threats, that's fine. All I simply meant by what I said was that what you did, you will pay for. I mean, it's just facts. But either way, I'm gonna cut this video off because I'm not even gonna, probably not even gonna cut this one up into shorts. I might later, but because I want people really to know, you know, and I'll go ahead and say it like Drew tells me, stop, just shut up and listen to what you're saying, because you're doing nothing but burying. You're admitting to everything you're doing, and then deflecting it with an excuse. Makes no sense. Your son don't want nothing to do with you. You show up on this property, it'll be your son that deals with you. Your son don't look at you as a father no more. That's my job. I'm dad. I'm big dad. That's mine. All mine. So, he's going to look at you simple. You're his past that he wants to put behind. He's going to look at you simple and remember that night that you put a knife to his mom. He's going to remember that night that you put his mom up on the wall and he was too tiny to do anything. So think about that, Billy. You want to keep making these videos, that's fine. But you're doing nothing but burying yourself. Stop. Look. Think about it. The Haley situation, I'm not going to talk about Haley. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's not too much Haley could say about me, and she could still call me up right now and say, hey, I need a place to stay. And she would be more than welcome in this home. What happened with Haley? 18. She was not 17. She was 18. A lot of shit happened. A lot of shit that I'm not going to go on here and talk about because it's nobody's damn business. It has nothing to do with Stephanie's disappearance. What you're trying to make out to be missing about Stephanie's disappearance. You're just burying yourself, dude. I'm not even going to try to defend it because you're admitting to everything. You're showing people. But I'm asking you nicely to stop because now it's affecting Lee. Now it's affecting Ozzie. As for Nicole, she wasn't old enough to really remember anything. I'm not even going to get her involved in it because she don't want no part of it. She knows who you are, and like she told me when we talked about it last night, she don't give a damn. Plain and simple. She just simply don't want to know you. Not because her head's filled with shit, because we don't talk about you. Because talking about you causes problems, causes nightmares. Because of that night, you put Lee up on the wall and stuck a knife to her. Which you don't want to talk about that night. But I wanted to say thank you. My babies are all cooking foods and everything, so just wanted to point on that little subject there for you, Billy. Like Drew tells me, shut up. Just shut up. Go back and really just read and see everything that you just did. Because you would literally just admitted that they tried to serve the papers and you were told to hire a private investigator. They would have issued a bench warrant. Family court, paperwork, kids in CPS custody, family court. Kids had to see doctors while in CPS custody. Birth certificate, your name on the bottom of all of it. So, thank you, Billy. You're proving everything I said. Oh, and by the way, Beverly has a beautiful home. I have to give her credit. Hopefully one day I get my shit straight and we get our little house built like that because that's what we're going to be starting this year is building a house with our hands. But have a good day. Good night. God bless. And on that note too, hope you found God, Billy.